Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you so much for coming to our Impact webinar today. We are going to be focusing on integrating career exploration activities into the onboarding process. And so I'm excited to be sharing this information with you. We have a great group of panelists who are going to talk about their experience with regard to Complete College America and our Purpose First initiative. And so in preparation for that, I do have a few slides that we'd like to share as we get through our discussion. So I'm going to switch over and begin sharing my slides with you. So our agenda for today is as follows. We'll give you a brief overview of Complete College America and the Purpose First. Now, Nicholas Hewitt is the Assistant Vice President for Institutional Transformation, and he is actually unable to be with us today. So I'm going to pitch hit for him, and we're going to keep this going. We're going to get a little bit into each of the project overviews for each campus presented today. And so we're going to be talking to Matt Reel from Bellarmine University, Dr. Chris Schroeder from Moorhead State University, and Deborah Whistler from Spalding University. She's just told me that she's not a doctor. So I did not correct that on this particular screen. So please forgive me, Dr. Deborah. And yes, I'm still calling you Dr. Deborah. Experiences and lessons learned. We'll get into the meat of our discussion today, which is, what worked well throughout this 2-year process. This was a long process, lots of transition, lots of information, lots of things going on with different departments and campus teams. And so we want to know what was good for you. We also want to know what difficulties and challenges you may have experienced and what's next. So based on all of that, what will you do in the upcoming years? And then lastly, we would love for you to also share some advice that you would pass along to other institutions. And finally, we will have a little open discussion, but the way that we're going to do that, because we're not on a typical Zoom, we would love for you to put your questions, your thoughts as you have them. You can make note of them, or you can go ahead and put them into the chat, the Q&A chat right away. Okay, and you'll see some reminders and things along the way. And then, of course, I cannot leave you without sharing some dates of some upcoming events that the collaborative is going to have. So let's get into that. So this webinar is being hosted by the Kentucky Student Success Collaborative. I'm Phyllis Clark, and I serve as Associate Director here at the Collaborative, and Dr. Lily Mass-McKinley is our Executive Director. So a lot of you have known about the Collaborative, but we still like to share every chance that we get what our purpose and our vision is of KYSSC. And here in front of you, purpose, we want to accelerate the transformational change through collaborative efforts on strategic student success priorities. We all have them, right? We want to charge. We want to facilitate collaboration, innovation, and impact throughout the stakeholder engagement, design thinking, improvement science, and equity accountability principles. That's a lot to say. And then lastly, vision. Higher ed leads to social impact. We all know that. It makes a positive difference in the quality of life for Kentuckians. And so that's what we like to share in terms of our purpose, our charge, and our vision. Now, even deeper is our theory of change, and I won't read all the information in the infographic. You can take note of that. But I do want to tell you that, these collaborative efforts fail when there is no agreed upon process of working together. And so through our stakeholder engagement, we work with campuses, a lot of you all who are here today, to co-create a statewide strategy for common student success priorities and challenges. We like to say that through collaboration, we can know more, we can learn faster, we can scale quickly and do this work together. And as our executive director loves to say, and I too, we can accomplish more together than any of us can achieve on our own. And that goes for anything. So let's get a little deeper into our framework and priorities. I know that a lot of you all are aware of this through our campus visits and some of the stakeholder engagement conversations that we've had over the last 2 years. But we'd be remiss if I didn't share them with you one more time, especially if you're new here. But there are 4 things, 4 big buckets of work, actually 3 big buckets of work, and we are aligned collaboratively with another colleague doing Complete the Path work, Dr. Jenna Weiss. But our first big bucket of work is around connecting the path, and that includes transfer services, and underneath that, admission redesign and our communities of practice for Summer Bridge and our transitions work. Number 2, charting the path. And that's more on the academic side. And you can see Gateway Course Success falls under that. I do have some information to pass along towards the end of our conversation today. And this is where College Algebra Success Project. And those of you all who were with us on the Impact webinar on Wednesday, wow, that was some amazing information. If you didn't get to hear it, we will be posting that soon, and you'll be able to find that on our Impact Exchange. Our third big bucket of work comes through continuing the path, helping students to continue their path through mental health services and student basic needs and research and work and all of the things that have gone on with that work. So a lot of things that we've been doing in the past 2 years. We hope that we have been able to serve you well. And again, Complete the Path is led by Dr. Jenna Weiss, and that is the incorporation of the 10 essential skills. And I understand a lot of campuses are incorporating that into their curriculums thus far and are starting to see some results of that. So moving right along. All right, so this is Nicholas Hewitt. He, again, is the Assistant VP for Institutional Transformation, and he just texted me. He is really, really sorry that he's having some serious technological issues and not able to jump on. So I will work in his place, but he has been our nice little linchpin, keeping all of our campuses, everyone informed, facilitating a lot of the meetings, and so you will probably get to. Now, if he's able to jump on here before this is all over, I'll scoot him in and reintroduce him. But we've had a great time working and learning from him and his team. And so what I wanted to do was just to give you an overall view. He and I talked about this, and I thought it would be helpful to understand because they are working with many states, Complete College America. This is one of the big initiatives under that. Kentucky Purpose First. And so I thought it would be helpful just to kind of share what the overall charge was for us 2 years ago, and to ensure greater social mobility for minoritized communities, whether high school graduates or displaced workers. Colleges must provide relevant information associated with all careers, link academic pathways to all the programs of study with clear connections between learning outcomes and job competencies. And so put that paragraph in a little color. Along with that, achieving this requires colleges and universities to implement Complete College America's purpose strategies at scale. And this is what our campuses have been working on, and I will let you know who they were in just a minute. But aligning the work of business and industry professionals with post-secondary institutions across 2- and 4-year spaces, all while ensuring comprehensive transition from high school to college. So again, I'm glad you're here today to hear how our campuses have done this. And for your viewing pleasure, I want to share with you the institutions that elected to participate in the Kentucky Purpose First initiative. There's Bellarmine University, Hazard Community and Technical College, Kentucky State University, Midway University, Morehead State University, Northern Kentucky University, Simmons College of Kentucky, Spalding University, and the University of Louisville. And I have mentioned these. I know that you can read them, but I've mentioned them just in case someone is in the car listening and really unable to view. So we had 9 campuses to participate over the last 2 years, and you're going to hear from 3 of them today. Okay, let's get into the campus project overview. And I want to go ahead and reintroduce our Purpose First project panelists, and that is Matt Reel from Bellarmine, Chris Schroeder from Morehead State University. I'm sorry, Dr. Schroeder, I didn't put Morehead there. And I didn't put Spalding for Deborah. But I think we know where you all are from now, so I apologize for that. All right, so here are the first big questions that we have for you all. Participant experiences and your lessons learned. And this is where you can go really, really deep with this if you like. But I just wanted to show everyone on the webinar today, here's what we're focused on. What worked well for your campus during this entire experience? What were, again, the difficulties and obstacles with the experience? What's next for you? And any advice? And so you all, I would love for you to each answer this question, and then feel free to kind of, get into a little bit of discussion, and if you'd like, especially if something that you share is helpful or happened on your campus too. Okay. All right. First question. What worked well for your campus during this experience? And we don't have to go in any certain order. You can jump off and share, and then we can work off each other.
I'm happy to jump in. I'll just, for sake of the order on the slide, we'll just start with that. Nice to be here with everybody. Again, Matt Reel with Bellarmine University. My role is Director of Career Development. So I come from that lens of designing and managing our career development, our career services, career exploration, career readiness, all that programming and events. And it's been a pleasure to work with Complete College America and Kentucky Purpose First, just to create some intention for us on our campus, putting some intention towards this process to align our efforts across many different departments. So then for the student experience, they're seeing a collective, unified approach, hopefully as seamless as we can make it. But that's where I would start with what worked well. It was just the opportunity to create that atmosphere, the framework, the process for us to work in. Like I said, with some intentional efforts. Mm-hmm. I think I'll speak for Bellarmine. I think we had a lot of great programs going on. I think we were focused on some of these issues, but alignment, shared language, things like that, where we didn't quite have that package together. And so what I feel like worked for us through the experience was examining the workflow. It also brought us, it was a process for us to bring campus partners together, talk about our workflows, talk about our programming, talk about different initiatives that we had. And when we started to map the workflows, we could see gaps and then think about, oh, we're really missing something here. And who should be thinking about that, and where should that be? Or it really revealed, wow, these are really connection points we're not taking advantage of. We should accelerate this, or we should amplify, or we should really partner in some intentional ways. And then that allowed us to kind of test out what we're doing. Like, let's try it this way. I'll try to keep it to a couple of minutes here, but I'm going to go quickly go through so that people have an understanding of the framework of what I'm talking about. Different programs in different departments. So we had academic advising. We might have had Office of Identity Inclusion, or our Accessibility Resource Center. There was a lot of different partners, student activities that was doing orientation. And so through this process, piece by piece, it wasn't instantaneous. Like, it took us 2 years, multiple meetings, months and months of mapping this. But We start in the spring. We have Night U, which is our orientation. We then go into Bridge to BU, which is a bridge program for students early summer. Midsummer, we have Night Essentials. Then we go into an early arrivals program. Then we have a pre-semester student success summit, our week of welcome orientation, our BU 100 orientation course through the fall, and we also offer a BU 199 career exploration course. So there's lots of components within that whole series of events, but it allowed us to really create a flow that was continually reinforcing the principles and concepts of creating a pathway and introduction to career exploration. And I would say those are the last two big initiatives on our campus. From the Career Center, we kind of had this already, but we built out a Pathways to Meaningful Work, which we built 4 things that matter on that, which are self-discovery, career readiness, experiential learning, and mentoring. So that gave us a process for how we were doing career development and career exploration. And then campus built an impact advising network that part of that is purpose and experiential and from our office, and we plugged into a larger process of advising and orienting students to campus. So I could get in the weeds with a lot of that, but I hope you see like the approach coming in was a lot of disjointed efforts, bringing that together and creating a map and a plan that for students just seems like their orientation. So that's what I would say was super helpful. And I'll pass to either Chris or Deborah to talk about their campuses. Thank you.
Well, I'm happy to go next. If for no other reason than, like Matt said, it's how we were listed on the first slide. And maybe I can just say what he said, because I'm going to do my best here. When I was first approached about being on this panel for this Purpose First initiative, I thought, well, yeah, that sounds great. I think I know something about Purpose First. This rings a bell. But I'm in my first year as the associate provost, and as I started digging through my files to prepare for this, certain that I would find all kinds of material about the initiative here at Morehead State, I really couldn't find much at all. So I almost just said, hey, I probably shouldn't be on this panel, but luckily I have a great team, and they helped me out and they gave me a lot of material, a lot of things that we've been doing. So I'm going to do the best I can, but don't have your expectations too high out there if you're on this webinar. But we'll see what we can do. I do want to kind of dovetail with what Matt said, in that I think what was nice about this initiative for Morehead State is it did kind of go well with a lot of the other things that we had going on. We already had a lot of things in place that I think spoke to this initiative, that tried to put students in a position where they were going to be career ready. And so just sort of having this sort of a framework and a little more direction, and a little more campus-wide intentionality about this, I think was good for us in kind of giving us a little bit more focus for these types of things. Some of the things that we've done, we've tried to incorporate this into our onboarding events. We've done some career readiness questionnaires in our onboarding, some personality inventories. We've embedded those into our first year seminar courses as well, to try and make sure that students kind of at least have a feel for what their personality type might say about what kind of career they're going to be well suited for. We have our QEP, which is a quality enhancement program that is designed to give students career skills. We want all of our students to experience some of these career skills that we have embedded into these classes through our QEP, like oral and written communication, teamwork, professionalism, critical thinking. And so we already had that in place, and this allows us to sort of, again, dovetail that and streamline that with this initiative to make sure they're getting these skills towards a career and they're thinking about those careers. I just think it's very important now more than ever. We have a lot of headwinds in higher education, and we have fewer and fewer students who are just saying, well, I'm going to go to college because that's what you do after high school. I think they're thinking about it a lot more critically, as they should. They're doing some cost benefit analysis, as they should. And they're thinking, okay, if I'm going to go for 4 years to Morehead State and spend this much money, what's that going to do for me? And we know that there is a good return on investment for these students, but we also want to make sure that they're aware of what that return on investment is going to be and the careers that they have waiting for them. So I can get more into the details as we go, but we have made some conscious efforts to really try and get this going, I think, in the early part. And I'll give a lot of credit to both my academic advising staff as well as our career and experiential education staff. They have been working with each other and trying to incorporate some of these things into this first year seminar, into the onboarding process. And they've done a great job with it. So, and I'll get into more of those details later, but I'll go ahead and pass it off to Deborah now.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I feel a little bit out of my depths as well. As I just started this position in July, and I've been at Spalding for 6 years, but I teach in the creative arts department, design thinking, and creative problem solving. And it's sort of this whole initiative was really interesting because it was like a perfect storm. It's like we had all these individual pieces that were happening at Spalding, but it was through this initiative that I sort of got landed in the middle and am able to be sort of the connector. And so one of the things that we did this year is we developed a career design center, which is human-centered systems thinking, using design thinking, but also combining that with creative problem solving. And the creative problem solving element is this idea that it makes your decisions sustainable, and that they're always changing. And so one of the things that we have focused on this year at Spalding is making connectedness through the Gen Ed courses. And we've done that in a couple different ways, which I'll talk about in the detail later. But we've shifted focus from this idea that career development is just preparing the students for their first job, and really thinking about learnability and adaptability. And we've done that with a series of what I call big group hot topic presentation and talks, in which I think we invited Phyllis to talk about imposter syndrome, where we're really focused on the freshmen and sophomores at this point, so that they begin to think about what their personal brand is, how they can set goals, what the importance, that why question with the gen eds, and why we're doing what we're doing, and how that connects to skill development. So at this point, the things that have worked are that it seems that all the pieces seem to be falling together. Like they said, they weren't here before, but the collaborative part with faculty, staff, alumni have been a big jump this year.
Thank you all. So a question for any of you. I'm not sure if you've had a lot of time to visit the Complete College America Kentucky Purpose First University, if you will. There's a whole back office portal where a lot of some technical assistance and some other things had been positioned for us to, visit at any time. And I've gotten in there a lot, and I've seen some great things on equity, centeredness, and some case studies and so forth. Were you all able to get in there and look around or share? I know that was set up. It was set up for us, and I think we still have access to it. So if your campus teams would like to visit that, I'm sure that that's something that we can still maintain.
Yeah, probably the biggest value that had, Phyllis, was there would be data we could access, and so as we were making decisions, and I'll save some of this because it's the prompt later about what's next, continues to be like using that to make data informed decisions about how to adjust and move forward, and particularly with those outcomes at the end of the experience for students is, okay, well, what impact did all of this process make? And if we could see where students were going from our own campus, but across the country or, Kentucky, that really helped inform like where there might be gaps or something we need to think about. And especially with certain, as you look at different populations, if it was first generation, students with disabilities, whatever it might be, that was really helpful. Just to compare yourself. And I think that was also a part of this whole process was, we're doing this. Are we ahead, behind, right on pace? How can we compare? And we're different than Moorhead or Spalding, so like every school's a little different, although with Spalding, maybe we're both in Louisville. So, but that also helps you create a little bit of just context for the work you do and what really is applicable and can help you. So I'd say the data was probably the most helpful component to compare. Yeah.
Yeah, during I think the summit last year, we were able to kind of divide up in our teams and things, but I'll bring that up a little bit later here. Let's go on to question 2 as time continues to push on. Okay. All right, difficulties and obstacles. Just jump right in.
You want to go first again, Matt? Well, I'll just
Sure,
say a couple things. Again, I wasn't on the ground floor of this as we were getting it off the ground, so I can't speak too eloquently to this, but I think a lot of it was money. There was some difficulty with money. We would like to have better advising and tracking software than we do. I feel that's one area that we could really, I think it would be a good investment for our students, for our advising, for our retention, for all those things. And we've looked at some of those things. So far, we've been unsuccessful in persuading the holders of the purse strings that those would be good investments. But I think it's something that we're going to continue to make progress on, and we'll get there eventually. Yeah, and I think probably some challenges, and I do kind of remember this from where I was sitting when this was launched as the chair of the Department of Mathematics, is just getting faculty buy-in on these things. This is the case with a lot of initiatives. For most initiatives, as I've been kind of on both sides of the fence now, it's not that faculty don't want to help students or don't want to help them see what careers they can do. They just feel like, hey, we're doing this already. Why are you asking me to do extra work and to document it and to, implement these new things? But one of the things we did try and do in that department is just to show kids what kind of careers you can have if you want to get a math degree. And it's a very, very diverse set of careers as we start digging into our alumni. And everything from accountants to actuaries to we have one that's the senior inventory. I don't know the title. They oversee all the inventory for Kroger. There's just such a diverse range of things that you can do. And I think a lot of kids just don't know what they can do, what kind of careers they can get into with a specific degree, let alone a college degree in general. So that's one of the things we're doing now campus-wide. And I'm sorry if I'm kind of getting away from this question, but is just as we interact with students who are interested, who are getting ready to onboard, and we show them, here's the classes you're going to take to be a psychology major or a physics major. When they flip that thing over, here's a list of not only the careers you can get, but the careers that our students have or have obtained by getting this exact degree that you're about to go down. And for our students that are at-risk population, which is a lot of first gen, a lot of low income, I think it's a real eye-opening experience for them because it just gives them the green light to dream a little bit and to think, well, that is something maybe I can do. If I can get into Morehead State and they think I'm good enough to come to this school, well, then that means I might be good enough to get my degree and to go on and get one of these incredible careers. So that's, I think, kind of where we're going right now. And I think that's also been one of the difficulties in getting all that framework up and running so we have that stuff ready to go for the students. So I said I didn't have much to say. I talked too long. I'll shut up now and let Matt and Deborah talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna not spend time saying the pandemic, but I will say the pandemic. Mostly just the chance in real time to test things out. We would be doing the processes and talking, and it's like, let's do well. And so with some larger institutional adjustments, just saying that for the record, that was a little bit of a challenge at times. But speaking to the whole experience, so I would agree with some of what Chris mentioned, and it's between academics, maybe student affairs, maybe different divisions or departments across campus is just creating that alignment and translating terminology and language and approaches. I think we had done a good job of creating a sense of what our career development and discernment and career readiness preparation was in our office, but to extend that out and have people understand it and see how and help us how they could see it fitting in and integrating takes some time. And I appreciated Kentucky Purpose First and Complete College America for creating space and time and meetings for us to do that. But also on campus, we had to take some ownership And so we created some task force where it just made us meet regularly, you know, and we outlined different initiatives, and we had, you know, subcommittees work on that, and we would create KPIs to just are we moving forward on this? Like, how is this initiative going? Do we want to keep this? And of course, from my end, it was really focused on purpose, you know, and career and experiential. So, but then we would come back and I could talk about purpose or career and the 3 other initiatives around belonging or wellness or academics. We could say, okay, and it just got more and more distilled and synthesized. So it was difficult to get to that point. It's just the growing pains. It takes a while. And you have to be committed to it. And so that's why I said we had to build a structure, or else it just wasn't probably going to happen, because you just get lost in your silo of your space and your direct needs. But I do think in the long term, it is going to be, you know, transformative for our students to have these built out, cohesive, aligned initiatives. So yeah.
Well, I agree with everything, the challenges across the board. I think one of the things for us at Spalding, for me, it's the coordination. And it's, like I said, we have all these initiatives, these little pieces everywhere, and then how do I coordinate them together? So trying to get, you know, the faculty, the student affairs, the students, the staff, to all sort of, you know, focus on one thing, and how do we get that to move together? And I think that's been an obstacle for me, is just the basic coordination. I think this idea of trust has been something that we've been working on all year, is this trust that I'm not asking you to do more. What I'm asking is that we can work together in some sort of radical collaboration, so that we're working more effectively and efficiently for the students. I think one of the difficulties has been to instill that the students themselves have a voice in some of the programs that we're developing, and that's sort of taken some time, but I think we're making some progress there. But for the most part, it's things are working well, but I think just a common language is the thing that we're working on right now.
Great. Thank you all for these responses. And you can get granular if you want to, and you can go macro, whatever it is that you feel that will be helpful to all of us. Deborah, I like how you just mentioned trust. And for those of y'all who know Dr. Beth Collins, she always says that change moves at the speed of trust. And so I love that, and I work to live by that as well. In terms of what some of you have said about students and the amplification of their voices, were students helpful to you all in any way with collabing on some ideas for what their onboarding experience, you know, would look like, or how it was, and that led you to make some different decisions about some things? And then I have one more sub question related to that, but anybody want to, you all don't have to all answer it, but did that bring up anything for you?
Basically, our whole program was developed from student focus groups that I ran last year. And, you know, so the students were talking about when they felt that they needed information, when they needed that information, and they needed the why question answered. Why am I doing what I'm doing, and how does it connect with where I want to go? Our whole program came out of the students, and like I said, student driven.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of follow up with that as well, we try to have students involved as much as possible. I mean, they're the ones that are going to benefit from this. We want to make sure we're listening to their needs. So we did get some feedback from them in our first year seminar course, as well as our onboarding process. You know, just what was the experience like? What could we do better? And we're constantly looking at that as everybody is, how can we better serve our students? And so we try to get their feedback and have tried to during this process.
Awesome.
Yeah, I echo all that. Just granular, like you said, Phyllis. It would, things like we would have them doing SMART goals or something, and that would appear a few times. And so when I've used that word test, we would run that, and students would be like, "Why are we doing this same thing a couple of times?" And so then we could be like, "Oh, right, we need to eliminate that of this," and just reduce any redundancies. They were helpful in that of what they were experiencing in the implementation. Yeah.
Right. Along with this question around the difficulties and obstacles, over the course of 2 years, I've heard some conversations around how on onboarding processes are looking now. And a lot of times responses were, I don't know, they talked a lot about first year experience courses and, just the connectability of everything. And so how can you all tell me how your onboarding experience is in terms of that? Is it a term? Is it a summer? Is it now a 1 year onboarding experience that students can expect? Is it seamless? Is it, anybody want to take a shot at that one? The look and
I'll jump in and I will get granular, so this might take a minute, but yeah, it for us starts mid-spring and sort of our first engagement with incoming students, which we call Night U. It's our orientation. So as I walk through these steps, I mentioned them off the top. There's a ton of night puns in here, so forgive me. But we start with Night U at orientation, and we introduce them to this Bellarmine Impact, which is a network of folks, career coaches, peer coaches, faculty advisors, professional advisors, and you're assigned to these folks, and they're here to support you all the way through. So this is your network. And then we break down purpose, which is career and their career exploration, and we expand that out. And so this is your process of career. And we talk about the steps of that. And then we zoom in on self-discovery, and we talk to them about that process happens right now. This first stage for you will be self-discovery. And so we talk about the instrument we use, which is Pathway U, which ironically we had developed Pathways to Meaningful Work as our career development process. And it just happened to plug right in with Pathway U as a career assessment tool. So we talk to them about Pathway U and how it can really create and unpack their interests and values and how they can use that to explore, and it will promote career matches. And so they can start doing their own research and exploration. And we talk to them, we're divided up, and I will be your advisor. I'm Matt, I'm a person, and I will be your advisor. And then we had, at that Night U, we have them do some table talks where they're talking to students, and we have them leave with a statement of creating a card, and I will begin doing this. So we're already trying to get them active of how they're going to dig into it. So then, as I said, then it gets reinforced. If they're also coming to Bridge to BU, they're going to get it there. And then we have Night Essentials in the summer, which is just a checklist of items to complete. Pathway U, completing that assessment, is part of that. That ultimately becomes a first-year orientation BU 100 assignment that you've got to do, also plugged into a module during that's calling and purpose. So then as they get closer to campus, we have a whole series of early arrival programs that for our office is a consolidated course. For us, it's BU 199, which is a career exploration course. So we do that over 3 days with certain student populations. Access BU, which is our students with disabilities, Knights of Color, and our Pioneer Scholars, First Gen. So we take those populations and have multiple sections and teach them that 199 course. And then they're going to come to our week of welcome, and they're going to hear the impact and pathways again. So we're just trying to reinforce it, that this is a process you're going to need to go through of discernment and discovery and exploration, and really trying to introduce it early. So by the time they get to campus, they're practicing it. And now we're building out some spring interventions. So it will eventually be kind of a full year experience of exploration and discovery. So I told you I would get granular. So I'll shut up now. Move on.
No, that is okay. Time is slipping, so I'm going to keep on and get to our last two questions quickly. All right. So out of what you've shared, what do you feel like, based on the activities that you've heard about, learned about, even experienced, what's the best next step for your campus? Or what do you feel like it is, whether it's been decided upon or not? What's your opinion?
I'll go again really quick. Sorry, Chris. I have three. I think for us, it's our note taking for academic advisors and career professionals. Just that student in that Bellarmine Impact, the individuals that are meeting with students are taking notes, so we have some real purposeful growth with students. We're all staying informed. We can track that really well. So the tracking, the technology to help us do that, I think, is just continuing to advance that. And then I would say mentoring, embedding mentoring for students to learn through that. And then finally, we've done a broader, onboarding through academics and career, but I do think getting at the department level of doing a department level onboarding of career discernment and mapping that from first year to second year to third year, fourth year, I think is next for us at a department level instead of a macro level. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think one of the things that we're working on right now is the advising and the note taking and being able to direct the students and determine what their needs are. I think for us, we are planning on working on the individual departmental career connection as well. But one of the things that I'm really hoping that we can do is including our alumni and our friends of Spalding a little more with a stronger mentoring program that starts their freshman year and continues all the way through, trying to create that seamless connection between their networking opportunities and for the most part, our students are low income first generation students, and they have jobs and they're athletes. We have lots of high percentage of athletes and high percentage of students who work as well. And I would love to be able to connect their financial, their university job directly with their career development.
Yeah, I'll just sort of piggyback on what Matt and Deborah said. I mean, kind of the same thing here. We're doing a lot of things really well. We have a lot of collaboration going, with our onboarding program. We're taking inventories then. We're reinforcing those inventories during our first year seminar course. Our summer bridge program, where we have our kind of at-risk students show up a week early and we orient them. We're hitting them over and over again with the same stuff, just making sure they know what their opportunities are, where to get support, how they can succeed, to make sure they have all those things that they're going to need, to succeed here at Morehead State. But yeah, we can improve in a lot of ways, in coordinating with departments, with individual chairs, with faculty, getting them involved in the process, and then just continuing to track these students. Once they get through these first year programs, through these grants, these summer bridge programs, and they go on to the next year, what happens to them? Are we doing a good job of keeping track of them, of making sure that they still know where they can get their needs met, what their options are, so on and so forth? I think we do a good job, but I think we can improve a lot, and that's, I think, where our focus is going to be going forward.
Great, thank you all. And the last question really is about the advice piece. Anything that you can share with our colleagues who are on with us right now with regard to your participation in Purpose First, maybe something that you've gleaned in terms of working with regional and national organizations with regard to technical assistance, and just anything like that you can offer.
I would like to do a shout out. I mean, I had was provided a mentor, and someone from a larger university who had was trying to develop a career readiness program that included design thinking. And I think that helped a lot to sort of anticipate like how do I pitch this new idea, because they had already been through it. And I think that mentoring was very helpful to me. And I think trying to align yourself with like-minded people who are developing the similar programs, I think is very beneficial.
I would echo that approach is just the chance to crowdsource ideas, and to, I think what Deborah's getting at is like trying to find a similar institution with maybe some similar student population so that you can really get the surgical tools out and get into some good work of fixing and organizing and arranging what you're going to do. I think my other advice would be something that's going to talk about again from the career perspective is really having a strong sense of our vision and philosophy and our approach to working students through career readiness, so that and I think that for each component of this is like if people are pretty sure about their processes, then it becomes a little bit easier to align. I think, as we said, like a common language or a common initiative around that. Because if you don't have that set, then you're kind of figuring out that also while you're doing that. So I think that's really important, is just having your own framework to then plug pieces together. Yeah.
I don't have much to add. My advice would be to have someone else start up the program and then you show up and take all the credit for it. No, well, there's some truth to that, because I have a great team, and having people in place that are going to buy in. The people on my team, in particular, my advising and retention director, who's made me look really good throughout this whole process. I mean, it's just having people that genuinely care about the students. That's what it comes down to. I think that's the whole essence of student success, is just letting the students know that you're there for them, that you care about them, that you want them to succeed. And that's what we have in Moorhead. I think that's what a lot of institutions have. And that's what I think this program has kind of helped us put the meat on those bones and give us a structure to, to directly address those students' needs, so that they can see in a real tangible way that, yeah, we got your back and we want you to do well.
Yeah, thank you all so much for sharing those thoughts on that and that advice. I think what we want to do now, because of time, is to see if there is a question or two in our chat. I don't know if the best thing for me to do is to click on that. I don't want to mess up my formatting here. Oh, okay. I have a technician helping me do this. Let's see. But yeah, for those of you who are with us, if you have a question, did something come up for you, a question for a specific institution, you want more information, please feel free to put your question or your reflection, your thoughts in the chat, and we will attend to it. And so while you all are doing that, I would like to go back to my screen and continue sharing the last couple of slides, and then we'll see if there's any questions. Okay, I do see something here. Okay, no, it was just a repeat of put your questions here. Okay, let's see, let's go back to sharing my screen. Right now. Okay, so while people are thinking about their questions or just continuing to hang out with us, I do want to show you the few events that we have coming up. I've put a strike through the couple of things that have already happened, which was our mental health COP on yesterday. And of course, we're talking about career exploration right now. But the co-requisite community of practice is coming up on next Thursday at 4 p.m. And I know we don't have times there, but if you were to click on the register here, or just go to our website at KentuckyStudentSuccess.org, you would click on the events tab and you can get to all of that good stuff right there. Let's see, the Student Basic Needs COP is on the 13th of the month. And then, of course, we're going to be having this information is coming out next week, but the Gateway Course Success Convening is going to be at the end of January. You can see there the 31st, and that is going to be an in-person event at our CPE offices. And let's see here if I'm getting okay. All right. Now, while I was sharing that, I think we did have something to come in here on our Q&A. Okay, the question is, what do you think will be the big impact of your work a few years down the road? That's so cool. What do you think will be the big impact of your work a few years down the road? Anybody can take
I
that.
would hope, as we're like focusing on student empowerment, because I get so many questions or calls from alumni who, like, you know, they had a career, things have changed, they've gotten laid off, you know, there's an impact on, you know, they have to shift and change, and that insecurity. And so my hope is that we can provide students with an empowerment so they understand their value, so that as they understand their value and the why question, why am I doing what I'm doing, so they can have sustainability, that they can pivot more in the career world. I'm hoping that they can have be less intimidated by the professionals, because many of our students just seem very intimidated to talk to professionals, and to see that, to make it more of a common occurrence that they're with professionals more. So more empowerment.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. Matt?
I just think my hope is the impact of a coordinated effort and initiative across campus creates a transformative experience for students, with just what Deb was talking about, where they're building confidence in their ability to make decisions, but also well-informed decisions that are based on their interests and skills and strengths. So they're building confidence. And then another layer is that we're just ensuring equitable career success for all of our students, that we're making sure we're putting them through programming and engagements and mentorship and networking, where they're building social capital that I know is going to have long-term success in their, in their careers and in their work life. So that's the hope with this, is that we introduce those concepts early on and build value, and it transforms that confidence. Yeah.
I don't have much more to add to that. I think it's exactly right. It's just, we're trying to create opportunities for these kids. I think we owe it to them to give them every opportunity to take away any reasons that they may have for leaving our school that aren't. I mean, there's good reasons to leave a 4-year school. There might be better opportunities out there. There's a lot of good opportunities with 2-year degrees and other careers that they could have, and they're very aware of that. But as long as they're with us, we owe them all the effort we can give them to make sure that we're removing all the potential barriers that would keep them from getting that 4-year degree, because it may not be the career they start out or they sign up for as a freshman when they first show up on campus.
Right.
Most students change majors a couple times, and most adults change careers several times as well. But what we're doing is opening up doors. We're giving them opportunities, and they have a right to expect from us the best we have to offer. And then once we get them through, then we can turn around and say, well, we have a right now to expect from you to go make huge changes for your community and for the people that are going to be following you. So it's just, empowering these kids, as Deborah said, I think is just a start of something that can be really big.
Yeah, I love that. And then, of course, they see all of that happening through us, right? And through our collaborative work and our efforts and so forth. Yeah. Right. And the last slide, I'd like to make the announcement. Actually, a lot of y'all already know this, but the Student Success Summit is happening at Western Kentucky University on February 26th and 27th. And I've already seen some of the featured speakers, local, regional, national. It's going to be phenomenal. And the theme is partnerships that work, and early bird registration is already open. So please share this with your campus teams. Reminders will continue to be sent, but you all know if you have any questions about any of this, we will, I'm your girl. I can be a resource for you, and I can help you do what you need to do in terms of registration or other information. All right, so I just want to take a second and thank you all. Thank you all for sharing. I know it's been a long 2 years, but a good 2 years, and a lot has come out of it. I believe Nicholas will probably want to have one more final quick 20 or 30-minute connection meeting with our 9 campus partners, and you all will be invited to that as soon as I can find out some information. But I also want to thank everybody who has shown up for the webinar, either live or you are looking at this again on the recording. We appreciate you so much. And thank you so much. We are, I think this is our 3rd or 4th Impact webinar. You know, the collaborative has engaged in a lot of work since our establishment, and now we're sharing what the fruits of that labor, your labor, has been throughout the projects that we have initiated. So again, I thank all of you for being here, and I want you all to have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.